Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing episode 1 of the Happiness Patrol, which I was sent recently by one of my subscribers, Lance. I want to say thank you to Lance, because I did finally reach out and say, hey, somebody tell me who sent this, and he did let me know. So thank you, Lance, I really appreciate that. He sent me this and another story, which is in the unboxing video. Happiness Patrol is a big deal for me because it is the final McCoy story that I haven't seen. So once I finish this story, I will have seen all of the 7th Doctor, which will be the first time I've completed an entire Classic Doctor's run. So that's a big deal for me. I'm really excited. I'm enjoying Happiness Patrol so far. I know there's a lot of like Margaret Thatcher allegory stuff going on here. I don't quite get everything, of course, because I'm an American. I know who Margaret Thatcher was. I've heard all sorts of jokes about her over the years. But I've never lived in the UK, so I don't exactly know all of her policies and exactly what it's poking fun at her about. But I'm enjoying the story because I like this take on a society where you have to be happy all the time, under pain of death, where happiness is not an option. You have to always be happy and cheerful. You can't be sad, you can't be depressed, you can't be morose, you can't walk in the rain without an umbrella. All of those things, you can't write poetry, you can't sing the blues. That's a fascinating concept to me because happiness is a state of mind. It can't be forced. Happiness, you can't pretend. I mean, you can outwardly pretend to be happy, but you can't really inwardly pretend to be happy because you know you're pretending. And trying to pretend to be happy is just going to make you more upset and more depressed, which is probably the biggest problem with a society like in this story is that if you have a society where you're forcing people to be happy, that's going to do even more to make them unhappy. If they were already unhappy, this is going to make them more unhappy. You can't genuinely be happy if someone is just ramming it right down your throat. You have to... Happiness is a state of mind. It's something you feel because of something that happens to you, events. If people are just, you have to be happy, you have to be happy, you have to be happy, you're not going to be happy. And the concept of that fascinates me, and I love when Doctor Who does stuff like this. Something like, I would have never thought of an idea like this with a society like this, and I love when Doctor Who takes these kind of concepts and runs with it. And so I love this story, even though I don't get all of the Margaret Thatcher allegory stuff. I love this story off that concept alone, just because forced happiness doesn't work, especially in the long term. You can't pretend to be happy. You will not be happy very long. And I know I went on about that, but I love the concept, so that's really endearing me to the story. I love the fact that we're definitely dealing with the Chessmaster version of 7 here. Chessmaster McCoy. I love Chessmaster McCoy because him and Ace aren't stumbling upon this by happenstance, like, say, in Paradise Towers and plenty of other stories when the Doctor does. The Doctor specifically brings Ace here so they can investigate. He specifically says right there at the beginning, I've heard some disturbing rumors and I've been meaning to check it out, so tonight's the night we're checking it out. So I love the fact he's already here knowing there's a problem, and that problem is the reason he's here, is trying to find out what's going on and stopping it. He's very proactive in this story about that. The 7th Doctor really is very proactive, though. He's not so much stumbling into situations as actively got something going on. We see this in, like, Remembrance of the Daleks and Silver Nemesis as well. So I am enjoying that. McCoy's performance is fantastic. I love when he rolls his R's. I love everything he's doing here. I can see the gears turning in his head as he's constantly planning his next move, planning his next move, planning his next move. What do we need to do first? We need to get arrested. I wish I could roll my R's. Of course, Sophie is always great as Ace. I'm enjoying her in this. I love her energy. She has such an energy to her. The guest cast have been fine. I like the one guy who is the undercover agent at the beginning, who obviously takes a lot of pride in his work. I love how he kind of gets his just desserts. I wouldn't have expected that to happen quite so early in the story. But it just goes to show how quickly things turn from you in this society. Because he wasn't really unhappy, he was just stunned slightly. They're like, "Oh, you look very unhappy." And he's like, "No, wait." He was just kind of still groggy from getting knocked out. That was pretty cool. And you do kind of enjoy seeing those Weasley characters get their comeuppance like that. It's very 80s, which, I mean, the story's made in the 80s. So it's natural that it has that kind of 80s look to it, kind of like Paradise Towers. I see the parallels, at least with this first episode, that people draw between this and Paradise Towers. I've been told with this story that, if you like Paradise Towers, you'll like Happiness Patrol. If you don't like Paradise Towers, you won't like Happiness Patrol. I really like Paradise Towers a lot, the one time I've watched it. So people have told me I'll probably like this one. I am enjoying, the Happiness Patrol's 80s out a lot. I tend to love the 80s, so I tend to like their 80s outfits. It was nice seeing the pink TARDIS. I know the pink TARDIS is kind of a popular thing in pop culture. I knew it was from the story. So it's kind of nice actually seeing that. The woman playing the kind of Helen A. character, I like her acting in it. She has this kind of posh British, "I'm better than you and I'm at the top and it's a shame I have to do this, but boy do I delight in it" attitude. She's pulling that off perfectly. The Candyman character looks really well done. I like the detail on the design, which I know it's kind of based off an actual candy mascot over there in the UK. And I think there was some... I think somebody may have gotten in trouble for that. That's probably why the Candyman's never come back. But the actual costume is realized well. I wasn't expecting the very feminine voice. It sounds like either a young child's voice or a woman's voice. Instinctively, I thought of it as a woman's voice. And for some reason, I was expecting it to have a more deeper man's voice. So that was interesting. The first time the Candyman speaks and it's that high-pitched voice. And I was like, I was not expecting that. Interesting. I like everything it's doing, though, so far. I like meeting the one guy who was trying to figure out why his brother disappeared. Who kind of gave the doctor an explanation on what was going on. Even though we didn't spend a lot of time with him when he died, I still felt bad. Because the actor... What he had with the role, he did a good job of conveying. And I like the fact that even the Doctor and Ace had wanted to kind of rescue him too. So I actually felt lost when he died. So a good job on the writing and the actor there at endearing me at least a bit to a character in such a short time. I didn't really like the go-kart thing they were on. It looked a little silly. And when they're getting fired at and the sparks are flying at the Doctor, it does very much, instead of look like actual damage, it looks more like staged sparks, like you're watching a play production. But again, I kind of get that for the era of the show. That's just kind of where it was at, and it's fine. The story I enjoyed. It's really good. The performances are good. I'm liking the Happiness Patrol thus far. I'm really enjoying McCoy and Ace in this. And I like the little pet thing Helen A. had too, the little thing she was feeding in the cage. That looked like it was realized pretty well, what little bit we saw it in part 1. So yeah, I am really enjoying the Happiness Patrol. I liked part 1 a lot. I always consider McCoy's era the most underrated in the show's history. And this is, at least at this moment with part 1, is definitely making me think Happiness Patrol is going to be another one of those stories. I'm like, people need to give this story more attention. We'll see. I know it's a 3-parter, so we'll have to see how the other parts go. Again, I want to thank Lance for sending this to me. I know Lance has been subscribed for a little while now. I see him down in the comments. We interact and chat sometimes. I really appreciate him sending this and the other DVD, which we'll be getting to later. The unboxing video should have already went out for that, I think. I also want to give a shout out to 2 of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane and the 5th Doctor. I appreciate their continued support. And I want to give a shout out to one of my early patrons, the Flyattractor. He recently upgraded tiers, upgraded to a higher tier. So I want to give him a shout out and a thank you for that. Flyattractor's been around with me for a little while now, since the early days when I really started pumping out videos on the channel about a year and a half ago. And has sent me several things in the mail too, which I really appreciate. If there's anything you would like to send me, I have a link down in the, I have my P.O. box down in the description below if you would like to send anything. I have a link to my Patreon if you would like to support me on that. I also have a link to my Amazon wish list, which I have updated recently if you want to look at that. But I would be happy if you've enjoyed this video, just clicking the like button and clicking that subscribe button. Both of those things help me out, and I'm very appreciative. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.